Welcome back, Visions fans. Ready Player Will with a classroom session today. I've got a ton of comments asking about what kind of build to make for the Pious gloves, for more the merrier, in order to hit Elena, who everyone has made some pretty big claims about hard countering. This is going to be by far my most in-depth mathematical video and kind of Excel-based video. So find a nice quiet spot, turn the volume up, sit down and get ready and comfortable. I'm going to do this as easily as possible, but there's a ton of factors that go into this that I promise you're going to learn a ton about. Just going to have to bear with me in terms of some of the presentation style of it. Before we get into things though, it's not just what build of the Pious glove will best help you hit Elena. I promise you, in the broad scheme of things, that is maybe only 10% of what it's going to take you to actually hit her reliably, because there's so many other sources of accuracy that absolutely need to be considered first. Just going through them, the major accuracy sources here. Number one, the Alexandrite ring obviously will give you 40 accuracy. That is by far the most you can get on a piece of equipment. The second thing, the silver rim spectacles. Nice weapon or nice piece of equipment for her because there's spear penetration, but it does also have potential for 26% extra accuracy. There, you can equip an Esper with 22 accuracy via the nodes that you can unlock. As far as I know off the top of my head, there's three that are primarily the best: Typhon, Odin, and Ramu. All three of them have access to roughly 21 or 22% extra accuracy. The Typhon Vision card, which is a wind-oriented card, gives 15% accuracy to the party, also very important. More the Merrier Vision card that just came out this week and is limited, very critical, where it gives you at minimum 23% accuracy, and the dexterity on the card is roughly about an extra 12% as well. I don't know the exact conversion, but that's the guesstimate based on what we know, for a total of extra 35% hit rate. That is monumentally important, that single vision card. Sharp Mind passive that more can equip it is an extra 25% accuracy. There's also two more vision cards. The 2B vision card gives you 35% luck to the party, which translates into extra accuracy. The second one is the Ahriman vision card, which gives you 35% dexterity, which also translates to accuracy. So between these, 8 items or so, these are going to be far more impactful to your hit rate than which type of weapon you choose. It's true for a lot of characters when you do this, but the weapon, and I'm going to talk about this right now, there's not much of a difference in the accuracy between the magic build and the aim build. There are some weapons where the aim is drastically different than what it offers for accuracy on its, let's say, magic or assault build. But the Pious gloves, just the regular magic build gives you 4% accuracy, and the aim build gives you 16% accuracy. So there isn't a massive difference between the two. It's 12% extra, whether or not you have one or the other. Well, 12%, if you're comparing to all these extra sources, is relatively minor compared to something maybe like the Stoss Spear. And I have the Stoss Spear here, where the accuracy is 21 on the aim and only 5 on the assault. So it's a 16% difference. 16% is maybe a little more impactful than 12%. So that's what I mean. There's some weapons where there's a big gap between what the two are. The Pious Gloves isn't one of them, though. So what I'm going to do now is I have an Excel sheet here, and we're going to do various builds of more, and using all of these things here to really just get a rough estimate of how likely she is to hit Elena anyways, and then we're going to take the Pious gloves into account just to see if it really does have a big impact or not. So now I'm just going to explain some of the general setup. So I'm going to use a pretty typical Elena build, and I have her kind of here listed where she's going to use the Astrea sword that's hers, the Winter Clothes, Bell's TMR, the Tetra Sulfate Esper maxed for evasion, her own vision card which gives her 35% luck. I have Champion of Astrea passive and Sharp Mind passive. I do have statues maxed out at what we typically see in the top of the guilds here. And then for vision cards on teammates, I assume Bahamut on Engelbert and the Jaden card on Jaden. That's kind of what we see most average. Obviously the Rob card will give her an extra 20% evasion rate, but we're not going to consider that for this scenario, and we're only going to use this one Elena build. And we're going to essentially look at 3 hypothetical scenarios, because there is the concept of unit affinity which plays a part into this as well. For those of you, I have a whole video explaining this, I can link it below, but unit affinity is basically some stat boost depending upon how close you are to other teammates, and you get buffs to luck, agility, and dexterity if you're in range of 1 or 2 teammates in kind of a diamond shape around you. So we're going to look at examples here where Elena is either by herself, where Elena is near 1 unit, or where Elena is near 2 units, because that will affect her overall evasion. We're going to do the same thing for Moore. I have some hypothetical situations here where we can see how the hit rates change if Moore is also near her units, where she'll get those buffs to dexterity and luck. That's kind of the general setup of things. So let me just put this aside to the moment. And so the way I have this team set up at the moment is basically for the least amount of accuracy possible. We're going to start there. I'm going to assume Leela has the Black Rose Elena vision card for speed. I'm also going to assume we're going to just put something like the Tetrasulfid card, which gives no buffs to the party for any kind of accuracy. And we're going to see how things shake up here. So for an Esper, we're going to start off, we're going to go with something pretty general like Bahamut, where, a lot of magic attack and human killer. And we'll skip the accuracy node right now for that 3%. For the weapon, we're going to give her the Pious Gloves. And for now, we'll just do the magic build for the sake of kind of getting a rough start. For the armor, again, we're going to go for ones that do not have, very impactful accuracy on them. And so I think the Galmia Cloak is a good one, where it's a lot of spirit, a lot of extra magic. You'll probably use this against some of the light comps. And then I'm going to go with something really simple here for a TMR. We'll just go Ayaka TMR, give her some extra speed. For the vision card right now, I'm going to pick, again, try to go for a non-accuracy one. We'll go for a downtime right now. So if you have this build with not gearing at all for any accuracy considerations, your Moore is going to have 357 dexterity, so I can fill that in here. She's going to have 319 luck, and then she's going to have an extra 21% flat accuracy. And the way this calculation works is it's a very long equation, but this is the actual hit rate equation for accuracy. Right now, with this current build, she will never hit Elena. Even if Elena's by herself, it's a minus 11% chance to hit Elena. If you put Moore near 2 teammates, she then gets a 2% chance hit Elena, assuming Elena's not near any teammates. So effectively, horrible. Let's make some tweaks, right? And this is how I'm going to kind of do it. I'm going to try to progressively increase the accuracy. Let's say we change the Black Rose Elena card, and let's say we put the Typhon card instead. Well, Typhon has 15% accuracy to the party, so all of these percentages should theoretically increase by 15%, and you're actually going to see that down here. See this accuracy number? It's now 36 instead of 21. So right now, that changes it so that Moore would have a 4% chance to hit Elena if Elena was by herself. Still unhittable if Elena is near teammates. And again, if Moore is by herself, we're just going to go with that for the moment. Obviously, nowhere near where we want it to be. So let's do another tweak. We're actually going to take out this Tetrasulfid card on Joom. And let's add the Ahriman vision card instead, because this is a good Joom card. And this does give 35% dexterity, so we should see Moore's dexterity also go up. Right now, her dexterity is now 424 compared to the 357. This should be a monumental jump in accuracy, and we'll see in a second here. If I replace this, okay, maybe not monumental, but better. We're getting there. We're not done. Right now, Moore by herself has a 10% chance to hit Elena by herself, 0% near 1 unit, and if Elena is near 2 units, no chance to hit at all. So things are not looking good. But we can continue to tweak. The next thing we're going to change here is her passive. Right now, both of these passives do not affect her accuracy at all. So I'm going to change Toxics and Sedatives. I'm going to change this to Sharp Mind. And what Sharp Mind does, it's going to give her an extra 25 accuracy. So you'll see that 36... Oh, I'm sorry, it's 20%. I misspoke earlier. You're going to see that accuracy went from 36 to 56. So we're going to change this here. Moore, standing by herself, now has a 30% chance to hit Elena if Elena is also by herself. Moore was with 2 teammates. That goes up about 13%. Still not great, but we're going to keep working on this. We do have some other things we can tweak. We can tweak the vision card, and quite honestly, I think this vision card might be the most impactful thing you can do for Moore. It is a significant game changer for her. So if we put on Fervor the Festival, if you recall, it gives wind units an extra 23% accuracy, and there's 62 dexterity, which is roughly 12%. If we put this card on instead, we should see changes to both her dexterity stat and her accuracy stat. So dexterity has now gone from 424 to 486. So we're going to change that. and the accuracy has gone from 56 to 79. Overall, pretty significant difference. So right now, Moore by herself, hitting an Elena by herself, has a 58% chance to hit. Much better. Still not perfect, but much better. If Elena was standing near two teammates, which isn't unheard of, it would really be 42%. So probably still some room to grow there in terms of boosting up the accuracy. So the next thing I'm going to switch out, and remember, recall, all of these percentages so far are with the magic build of the Pious Gloves. If you were using the aim build, basically increase all these percentages by 12%. That's all it comes down to. So if this was an aim build instead of magic build, you would effectively be at a 70% chance to hit Elena, which is probably pretty good for most people. I think 70% at minimum is probably a safe threshold for the RNG in determining if you hit or not. But we're not going to alter this weapon yet. We're going to still tweak a couple other small things. Let's change up the Esper a little bit. We're going to go to Odin here, which might seem like a, odd choice considering Odin is not really a magic Esper. But one of my favorite things about this Esper is that there is slash attack resistance and missile attack resistance, which means when you're taking her against the light meta, she's going to have extra bulkiness against both Elena and Jaden, and technically Engelbert. So if we pick this Esper and change it instead, we go missile resistance, let's say we go full slash resistance, we still have opportunities to increase the accuracy here. All of these nodes on the right should equate to a fair bump in overall accuracy. So I'm going to do those. And then you kind of fill in whatever you want here. I'll go human killer here as well. So technically you should still have another 9 human killer, which will help her DPS output. But the important takeaway here is that we're getting an extra 22% accuracy from our Esper, where Bahamut formerly had no accuracy on it. So if we save this, the big change, and there will be some changes to luck and dexterity as well, because the Espers have different amounts, so we'll fill in all of them. The dexterity has gone down just a little bit, but the luck has increased from 319 to 331, and we should see our accuracy is now 101 instead of the 79. Which means, right now, if a Moore is by herself and an Elena is by herself, you have an 84% chance to hit Elena. If you use the aim build of the gloves, add 12%, you're at 96%. That's pretty damn good. But again, that's just one-on-one. Let's assume the worst case. Let's assume 1v3. If you're still shooting off into an Elena with a group of 2 others, 68% still on the low side. And recall, if you went aim build instead of magic build, add 12% here, you're at 80%. That's not bad, quite honestly. So sure, if you're comfortable with this current build of like vision cards on your teammates, on the equipment that you have overall, and you say, yeah, I want this 68% to be 80%, then go for the aim build. That's the difference maker for you. But again, you're also considering Moore's by herself. If you want to make this an equal comparison, say it was, 3 versus 3 huddled all together, well, you're already there. If you're Moore next to a Leela and Joom, and Elena next to Engelbert and Jaden, you're basically already at that 80% threshold. Moore in a group of 3 and Elena's by herself, you have almost a guaranteed chance to hit her. Without the aim build. This is without the aim build. And don't forget, we still have opportunities to increase this. We still have the slot here, the slot 2, where you can put the Alexandrite ring, the Silver Rim Spectacles, or technically there are other TMRs that have accuracy on them, which the Ayaka boots do not. So there is still room to potentially bump this up, just using the magic build of the gloves. Just for funsies, we're going to throw a little wrinkle into this. We're going to actually swap the Arimin card for the 2B card. Because let's say you want your Leela to be Hyper Evade instead. So that's why you have the Typhon card on and you gear her for evasion. And you want the Near Automata card so you can make her full evade. Well, you're still going to actually have some good upside here for accuracy, because although you're losing your dexterity, you are getting 35% luck to the party. And quite honestly, I think I would prefer this, because you're also getting 8 Spirit, which is going to help you against Elena and Jaden. So if we swap that Near card out, we should see some statistical changes here to dexterity and luck. Your dexterity is going to go down significantly. You're going from 479 down to 412. But you'll notice the luck has gone up significantly. We were at 331 luck, and now we're at 391 luck. If we put that in, significantly more impactful than the Ariman card. So we started, remember, like kind of lowest, working our way up. The extra 35% luck has a significantly bigger impact on the hit rates than the Ariman card here does. And at this point, it begs the question, like, do you really even need the aim on the glove? The answer is no. We're using magic. It also begs the question, do you, need the 22% accuracy from Odin? The answer might be no. So if we go back to Bahamut here, and let's say you want to max her for the potential magic damage she's doing, and this time we'll fill in this extra 3% accuracy node. There's going to be some changes here. So again, we're switching espers, so the dexterity and luck stats are going to change just a little bit, and the accuracy is going to come down. We went from 101 to 82. Let's go more unit affinity back to 0. The hit rates adjust accordingly, but still, more by herself versus Elena by herself is a 78% chance to hit. And again, there's still upside here if we wanted to really jack up that accuracy. If we weren't comfortable with this 62%, if Moore was alone, shooting in a group of 3, you certainly could boost this by, an Alexandrite ring or the spectacles or the different build of the weapon. And so this is kind of where we'll conclude, because we could obviously go through a lot of extra scenarios. But let's assume that we're happy with the Typhon card on Leela. We're happy with the 2B card on Jum. And let's say we're happy with the Bahamut Esper, where we want to maximize Moore's damage. And we're not very happy with this 62% hit rate. We want to jack that up. Fine, we're going to go with the Spectacles instead here. And so we're going to build this. We're going to build the Spectacles for the aim build. That's going to give us our extra 26 accuracy. So hypothetically, dexterity and luck are unchanged, but our accuracy is now 104. That is a significant difference in hit rates, where if Moore is by herself, she has a 100% chance to hit Elena also by herself. If Moore is by herself and Elena is with 2 teammates, there's still an 84% chance hit rate. This is a pretty darn good overall build, and again, we're still using the magic build of the weapon. The long story short is that the impact of going magic or aim here for just a net extra 12% is not nearly as impactful as some of these other changes with the vision cards, with the Esper, with the equipment, with the sharp mind passive. Those are the things that are really going to change things. And so sure, let's assume that you don't have the Near Automata card. Let's assume you don't have it. And let's assume that you haven't built your Ahriman card. And let's assume that we'll go back to Tetrasulfid here, which is just like a DPS boost, basically. So right now, our Moore is still built for evasion, but let's say you're missing that 2B card. Well, now you might have to go a little extra heavy on the Alexandrite ring or the Esper, where right now you have to take that luck back down to 319. And now those hit rates suddenly kind of start to fall off a little bit. I'll stop there before I start talking in circles a lot more, but hopefully this exercise was helpful to see where the most impactful sources of accuracy are. Also getting some context for how impactful the aim versus the magic build is, and that really isn't all that big in the broad scheme of things, but also seeing how important it is to really consider all these extra things when determining your hit rates, particularly as it pertains to unit affinity. I know that's often a hard one to calculate on your own. I had to obviously set up a special Excel worksheet for this, but overall, you're seeing about an extra 15 to 18% in terms of difference from Elena being alone versus being group of Jane and Engelbert, which does happen quite often, or often enough. So hopefully this is informative, answered some questions. Happy to answer questions in the comments as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.